Hi again folks, how you all doing? So a chap called Andrew got in touch with me in the middle of December there, asking if I would like to have a black Hornby N2 locomotive as a donation. Now, I've turned down a number of donations lately simply because I don't really have the time or the space to take them all on, but the offer of an N2 was just too tempting to dismiss, as I've had one of these locomotives on my locos to get list for a while. So I gratefully accepted Andrew's very kind offer, and here it is. Thank you very much to Andrew for this generous donation. As you can see, this is a super detail Hornby N2 in BR black livery. The box is in good condition. So let's open it up and take a look. So this is an R2178B. Looks like it was made in the year 2000. And there she is. She appears to be in very good condition by the looks of it. Andrew said that this model has been described as being a noisy, inconsistent runner. So let's get it out of the box and onto the track and test it out. Okay, so power on. That's full power. Yeah, not running too well. Let's get her into the shed and we'll see if we can see what's up. Righty-ho then, let's get a look at this N2. I do like N2s and V1s. I really want to get a V1 in LNER green. That's definitely on my locomotive to get list. I've very nearly bought one a couple of times, but maybe this year at some point. So this is a Hornby Super Detail model made in China. They called it Super Detail, and yet there's no cab detail at all. You can see the motor in the cab. So yeah, that was a bit disingenuous of Hornby to call it a Super Detail model. So what's causing the problem, I'm guessing, is dried up lubrication. That would be my guess. But Andrew did say it was also described as being noisy, which kind of surprises me, unless there's a gear issue or whatever. Right, okay, how do we get into this? I notice there's clips at the back there, but I don't think it unclips at the back. Yeah, there's two screws quite close together there, so I'm guessing the front one is going to release the body. There you go. It's going to come out. Yep. There we go. Oh my. It's absolutely drenched in oil. It's absolutely drenched in oil. So we're going to have to clean up all that oil. Someone's been very heavy-handed with the oil on the worm gear. This seems a bit loose. I don't think that should be as loose as that. There's a screw down in here. Let's undo this. That then comes away. Alright, so we've got pickups on all the wheels. The pickups on this side make contact with this spring, which passes current through this block, through this wire to that brush there. And then the pickups on the other side must connect to the other brush somehow. So let's get this disconnected. Look at the grease in there. Got a cocktail stick. Look at that. It's like earwax. That's why I'll be running slowly. We need to get all that out of there. So we've got a brass worm gear and we've also got a brass drive gear. So that'd be why it was possibly noisy. And it's been lubricated so much to try and stop it. Gee whiz. Alright, okay. I think we have to pretty much do a complete disassembly on this to get it properly cleaned up. Where's my tweezers? That should release that bracket. Is that now going to come out? Right, okay, so pickups on this side connected to this wire here. Unfortunately, to get that out, I think we'll have to desolder. Yeah, I think we'll desolder this. Again, you can see all the grease on the inside of that bracket. It's not wanting to come off. Oh, it's 3 little holes. These, we'll get the solder sucker onto this, I think, and see if we can. I need to get some of that solder braid stuff. There we go. That's that one out. And that one. Again, you can see big dollops of grease. We'll undo the rear bogie. That's out the road. Let's undo the underframe screws. There's only 2 of them. It's all fairly simple. You can see the gears in there. Right. Then lift out. Right. The first thing we're going to have to do is just scrape out as much of this grease with a cotton bud as I can first, and then we'll give it a good scoosh out with the contact cleaner. Same with the motor. And then in here, there's a great big dollop of it. Look at that. That's horrendous. Does that spring come out? Yep. Right, okay, we'll clean this up first. There we go, job done. That's one thing the WD-40 contact cleaner is really good at, is just getting rid of old oil and grease. It is invaluable for that. Right, the motor. There's a very dark substance caught in the thread of the worm gear. It seems to be a bit stubborn. Oh, wow. Yeah, no wonder this thing wasn't running very well. That's really hard. I'm just having to work down this thread, picking out all this hardened grease. But I've never seen a lubricant go as hard as that. God knows what it was. That's that cleaned up. Clean all this out. And of course we've got the same black hardened substance in the teeth of the drive gear. I've never had to go through each tooth on all the gears and scrape them out before like this. Because normally, you know, this, well, scoosh of the contact cleaner and going over with the brush, it just all comes out, but not with this. Wow, and it's all on the side of the gear as well, just this black, waxy gunk. Look at it. Should use the blade of a screwdriver on the side actually. Right, okay, I think it's my drive gear cleaned up. Never seen the like. I guess that Gear on the driver, yeah, it's got all sorts of crap in it as well. I think I'm going to do something I've never done before on any repair, and that's swap this towel out. Right, okay, right, we'll give these wheels a scoosh all over, and I'll give them a polish up. Inside as well, because that grease has got onto the insides of the wheels. Right, look at this. Surprisingly, it's not too bad. I'm having to degrease my tools. You degrease that. Ugh. I think we'll get this back in first. So that went in like that. Right, bit of tricky soldering to do. So now like that. And then you want that one to go in there. Like so. So it's in there like that. Right, we'll get some nice grease onto this. It's a mixture of PTFE grease and silicone grease. Pop that back on. Which way does it go? I'm guessing it goes that way. I'm going to get some oil into there and into there. Put the spring in there. I don't like the way that wiggles about. In fact, that's not engaging at all. Alright, I think I see what's happened. I think the top of this has broken off. And it's stuck in there, and that's why that's not screwing on very well and why it was loose. I mean, I think just fitting a longer screw that fits down into there should be okay, so I don't anticipate too much of a problem getting this to fit back on, but it's just getting this screw out is going to be a bit tricky. Let's try jamming that in there. That's got it. And there's the broken part. So without that, does that screw fit down and tighten this on? Let's put that spring back in. Yeah, there's no thread there. Oh dear. Might just need a longer screw. Yeah, that takes okay, it just needs a longer screw. Okay, so a wee while later, I've been through all my spare screws and I couldn't find anything that would fit this onto that successfully. But I've got this screw which does fit, it's the right length, the screw head's the right diameter, but the thread was a little bit too narrow. So I've filled up the hole with some super glue and baking powder, and that, I think, should do the job now. Don't want to screw it too tight and break my baking powder and super glue thread. There we go, that'll do it. Here we go. Just going to see what this sounds like when power's applied. Yeah, it's a wee bit growly. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll get the wheels on it and we'll get it onto the track, see what it sounds like. Square holes for the axles and the chassis, and no bearings. So not one of Hornby's finest, it has to be said. Right, what does this sound like? It's not too bad. It's hard to tell with this controller on the test track. I think what I need to do is go and give it a wee test run on the layout, see what it sounds like. Yeah, let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, it's a wee bit growly and a bit lurchy, and it's making a bit of a clicking sound in reverse. So I think we'll have to have another look at this. Okay, so we've got it running, but I don't like the noises it's making, especially in reverse. It makes a kind of clicky, rasping sound, which sounds like pickup noise, but I don't see any obvious source of that noise. It does kind of sound like it's coming from the gears. You can kind of see why someone would get a bit frustrated with it and just fill it full of grease to try and shut it up. Alright, let's see if any of my nylon worm gears would work with this gear. That one might. That one just might. Let's pull this off, see if it fits. Right, I'm going to use a different puller on this to try and get this gear off. Okay, so I went off camera for a bit there, trying to get this worm gear off. I ended up using a little piece of nail, just in conjunction with this puller. The worm gear is quite long, so it wasn't coming off with that puller, or with that puller on its own. The pin wouldn't go down far enough, so stuck a bit of nail in, and that extended the pin effectively, and managed to get the worm gear off. I looked in my box of spare gears and I found this nylon worm gear. I have no idea what motor or model this gear came from, but it seems to fit both the armature shaft and the drive gear. So I've greased it up and I'm pretty confident that this will resolve the noise issue. So we'll get this back together and we'll give it a go. But yeah, I didn't film getting that worm gear off because I wasn't entirely confident I was going to be able to get it off. And I didn't know that worm gear, with the nylon worm gear, was going to fit. And if it hadn't fitted, I think I might have been stuck as to what to do with this model. Right, let's see what happens. That's better. Yeah, right, okay. I think we're going to give this a wee test on the layout. Right, let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. Righto then, yeah, successful. Lucky I had that spare nylon gear. I must try and find out where it came from. It's never a good idea to have metal gears working against each other in a model locomotive if you want to minimise noise. I know a lot of older models had all metal gears, but they were generally much better machined than the cheap nasty gears on this. I'm not sure if the gears are brass or phosphor bronze or some other alloy, but they remind me of the gears I've seen on Airfix and Daypol models. So I'm wondering if this was originally an Airfix tooling. I kind of suspect it might be. Yeah, I mean the quality of this thing is just really poor. And it does remind me of an Airfix model, I have to say. Right, where's the body? And there we go. Right, let's go and pull this out the shed. Okay then, let's bring her out. So there we are, that's this Hornby N2 running again, and a lot better than it was, certainly a lot quieter. Yeah, I read up on this model, and it seemed to begin life with Airfix, and then Mainline, and then Dapol, before Hornby got hold of it, and that really shows with the build quality. I mean, at least this one has a decent motor in it, but it seems to have inherited the brass gears and everything else from its pre-Hornby build. Luckily I had a nylon worm that fitted, and that's made a huge difference. The pickups could still do with a wee bit of tweaking to stop them rubbing the spokes, but you know, I'm just pleased I've got this model running so it's no longer a growler. Thanks very much again to Andrew for sending me this, it's much appreciated. Turned out to be a bit of a fiddle and a faff to get it in order though. I've never seen so much grease on a locomotive before, but interesting all the same to work on something I haven't worked on before. All experience is good experience in this game. Right, okay, thanks again to Andrew, and I'll catch you later, folks.